Hello everybody and welcome back. It is me, your old pal Orpheus, with another adventure here on Orpheus Plays. We are playing Blade and Sorcery on the PC today, and yes, it's another great day for murder, and today I wanted to ask, well, a little question. Can a catchy tune turn out to be fatal? Let's talk about that. I hope you're doing well wherever you are today, whether it's day or night, or one of those stupid catchy tunes came on the radio and you're like, that's gonna be stuck in my head for the rest of the week. Oh, God. Anyway, let's get things kicked off right here. We are in survival mode here in the arena. First, we have the Kingslayer. Okay, Jamie Lannister right there. He's looking a little thin. We have the Halidi. Okay, whatever. And we have a regular old pickaxe. I don't know, that's tough. Between the pickaxe and the Kingslayer, I think I'm going to go with the pickaxe. Just because it's meaner. Just stick a pickaxe into somebody, and we'll find out how that works now with our first traditional slow motion kill of the day. Yes, we'll do it right here with our pickaxe. Come on, bro. Let's make this inspiring for everybody out there at home. Oh, no, you missed. Oh, my turn. Wow, and his head turned into chunks against the wall. By the way, YouTube, those aren't what you think they are. That's those Jello jigglers. You know those things that you anyway. So, hey, how you doing? So today, like I said, I want to talk about something that's an interesting concept that I started thinking about a couple weeks ago. And it is this. Can a catchy tune or something that they call an earworm, right? Can that get stuck in your head and end up being fatal? Something that kills you, right? Well, I have a rather interesting perspective on this situation. Because if you may have seen in some of my other videos, especially on my mental health playlist where I have some videos that address this specifically, I have a traumatic brain injury. And one of the symptoms that is the most prevalent from that is, I hear music 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If I'm not actively replacing it with something, okay? Now, I do have a song in my head right now. I'm not going to share what it is, but it's even there when I'm doing something like this. Now, when I'm editing this, hello, future Orpheus, hello, what we're going to do here is I put music under this, and that helps me while I'm editing and while while you're watching it back, to be able to focus on what I'm doing in the editing process, right? So the music bed isn't just there to be entertaining, it's also there to kind of help me as I'm doing the editing along the way. It replaces anything that's in my head, and it helps me kind of build a narrative, in the editing suite. Now, you may not notice it, I do a little tiny bit of editing here and there. I do it so seamless probably that you don't notice it, yep, there was one right there. Just kidding. Or am I? So, here's the concept. Since I hear music all the time, it can be pretty frustrating if I hear some sort of song. All right, you know what? I'm going to share what's in my head right now. And you'll go, "Oh my God, you poor thing." Yeah. Man, if I say it out loud, it's going to be stuck in my head. But it's worth it for the video. It's Bop by Hanson. Yeah. Good luck. That's stuck in my head right now. Might be stuck in your head too. Hopefully focus on the music bed for a second. Yeah. Okay, yeah, see, that's better. Just don't think about it. Don't think about it. And that's what I kind of have to do, right? So, for me, if a particularly bad song gets stuck in my head, right, it can be overwhelming to the point where I don't feel like I have control. And it is it's schizophrenia, okay? Schizophrenia is a condition where you see and hear and smell and taste things that aren't there, okay? It's typified by delusions, right? So for me, it's the music that I hear all the time. I also hear little clicks and pops. I hear people calling my name. Okay, where did that go? Did that, bounce off my leather? Slow motion in the brain! Come here. Oh, God. But, it's like I have that music in my head all the time. But I also, with the clicks and pops and hearing my name, called occasionally, that's also part of the delusions that I have, which makes up schizophrenia. Now, some of the other things that can happen is you have delusions of being a different person. So growing up, I genuinely believed at times that I had magic powers. Don't judge me. Stop it. It's something I dealt with when I was younger. I got through it. Okay? But delusions, right? So that's one of the things that comes up. There's also certain behavior aspects that you get from it and everything else. But since I hear music all the time, it can become so wrapped up. It's like a snowball rolling down a hill, right? It can get to the point where it's all I think about. It's all that's going on. I have the song running through my head, and then I kind of verbally repeat the phrases. And, it's hard to explain how it works. But let's just say that when I get that music going, I cannot control how much is going on. Now, it is a psychosis, right? So it's a psychotic thing that happens. Not psychotic like killer, but it is called a psychotic break or psychotic episode when it happens to that being, to that level. Now, Orpheus, you say, Orpheus, why aren't you on some sort of medication to get rid of the music? Because there are antipsychotic medications that can do that, right? They can remove that stuff. But here's the thing. People that have this kind of auditory or visual hallucinations or something, we get used to it, okay? And a lot of us see it as like just a little poke. See it as a companion all the time. Now, whether it's a good or bad companion, okay? Whether it's a good or bad companion, that kind of fluctuates. It kind of goes between being cool sometimes. Like if I'm by myself, like camping or something, and I didn't bring any music or something, I could just sit there and, jam out to whatever's in my head. But if what's in my head at that time is something that is aggravating, frustrating, overly annoying, like one of the things that I used to listen to years ago when I was younger was techno, right? Techno music was everything. Ooh, come here. Techno music was like all the rage. And I grew up outside of Detroit where techno music was technically born in the nightclubs and stuff. And so I used to listen to techno, but I also used to listen to a specific subset of techno. And don't laugh. Don't stop. Shut up. Don't do it. Called bubblegum techno. Now, bubblegum techno is kind of like, I guess... let me play a song underneath that kind of is similar. This is a song called Kawaii. Okay? This is kind of a cute little song that, it's sort of like what bubblegum techno used to be like. It's light and fluffy and la la la, right? Well, bubblegum techno can also be extremely earwormy, like it can get stuck in your head, but it's also kind of high-pitched, like kind of stuff. It's like the happy techno, right? It's kind of what raves sort of like we're born with, right? We're born from all the happy people wearing, neon colors and waving around their glow sticks and stuff. That was originally bubblegum techno that started that whole thing. Throw my dagger at you. Oh, no. Give me my dagger back, my misericord. And that will end the round successfully. So, I used to listen to bubblegum techno, and it was the kind of thing where it got stuck in my head, specific phrases of songs. And one of them is a Speed Racer song that is really, really weird, and it used to get, again, stuck in my head all the time. Well, if it gets to the point where it's the only thing that I can't get a knife out of this. There we go. It gets to the point where it's the only thing that is going on in my mind where I can't grab a knife. I'm not putting that on my hip because I'll never get it off. Hey, let's use this though. The knife I threw is mine. Come here. Oh, slick. But if it gets stuck in my head, and let's say I'm going along, there are days when a song will get stuck in my head that I literally start saying to myself, "Shut up, shut up, shut up," and I start like hitting my head a little bit. It's kind of what happens when you take a little bit of autism and combine it with schizophrenia. You get I get an autistic meltdown sometimes from it, and I like. it can be rough. It can be really rough because I'll sit there and I completely shut down. There's nothing else I can do. And this is part of why I'm medically retired. This is part of why I don't have a steady job anymore, is because, well, can you imagine me being at work, right? And some song comes on the radio, on someone else's cubicle radio, and I can't get that song out of my head, and it starts to build and snowball and build, and suddenly I'm in the next cubicle yelling, "Shut up, shut up, shut up," and banging my head against the wall. I mean, that's kind of... That has happened before at work, but it happened at work that, like, I had, you know, like I was working from home or something like that, or working at my family's business where I could, like, quietly go off in the corner and go, shut up, right? So, it can get to the point where, let's say if I'm driving somewhere and it happens, I have almost lost control of the car a few times over the years because, again, like, the song is just, I can't stop it. I can't stop it. Well, that's the good and the bad about having that companion, right? Sometimes it's there as a companion that's you know, faithful and loving, and he's doing yoga. That's cool. Let's take this out of the way. Cut the legs right out from... Anyway, so that's the good and the bad. Sometimes it makes me a little nuts. So we come to the question that I posed to you at first. Can a song that gets stuck in your head, so like a stupid jingle or a product, let's call them Yayos, right? Let's say that Yayos has a really catchy and stupid jingle, right? You know, you'll love Yayos because they're good, or whatever the hell it is, right? Let's say that gets stuck in your head. And let's say you have a meeting coming up, or you have to take a test like the SAT, or you have a driver's training for your license, or whatever it is, right? And that song gets into your head and it starts to snowball in your head, right? Is that something that's ever happened to you? And is it something that you think would affect your ability to operate in situations that might be dangerous, right? Because the kind of distraction that I get, and they always say, like, talking on a cell phone or talking to someone in your car or you know, fiddling with the radio or something, that can be as bad as, or having to pee even. If you have to take a piss, right? You're apparently just as distracted as if you were drunk, which is just frightening to think about. But, you know, that can happen with this kind of psychosis, right? Or this kind of concept. You can get to the point where it is just, it wraps up everything that you have and screws with you so hard. But is that something that any of you have dealt with? Now, can that lead to something like a car wreck or something? Yeah, it could. It absolutely could. If you are trying to find another song, because one ways, I don't know how you do it, right? But when I need to get a song out of my head, I replace it actively with something else. I'll actually kind of literally scream it in my own head. And like I've said in other videos, the Blue Danube Waltz is one of the ones that I scream at myself when I want to not hear the music anymore. It's kind of rough, but let's say you have to replace it with something on the radio. Let's say you have to... Let's say you have to replace it with something on the radio, right? And you go to fiddle with the controls and car crash, right? Well, it's a little bit more complicated for people like me. If that song is stuck in my head and it starts to become an obsession, obsessions for people with things like autism or with things like, schizophrenia can become all-encompassing. They can become dangerous because you get these feelings of being unsafe, right? You get this feeling that, you know, you'll never be able to get that back out of your head. You're always going to be broken like that. And when that happens, it can lead to some pretty alarming behavior. Did you just smash your head on that all by yourself? Interesting. But so it can become all-encompassing. It can affect the way that you think and feel and reason and act. And so, yes, a catchy tune getting stuck in your head can be fatal under the right circumstances. So I guess there's no warning I can give you, right? It's like, you know, be careful with songs. They can be deadly, but that's not it. I wanted to give you a little glimpse into how it can be for people like me or other people with schizophrenia that try to struggle with having that sort of thing that's always there. There's always a monkey on our back sitting there telling us different weird stuff or presenting stuff that's not real. And we have to deal with it every single day. But yes, it can become a fatal disorder. Anyway, now that I've answered that mystery and we're done with our round, we'll see you on the next one here on Orpheus Plays. Kind of a short one today, just talking about a little silly concept I thought about the other day. And anyway, hope you do good, treat yourself good, because you know what? You really do deserve it. We'll see you in the next one. Bye!